hazardous chemicals. Just let it go as hazardous. When I was in grad school, one of my jobs, quote, as a non-chemist in a chemistry class, was to have, I had a Merck index, I had books on dangerous chemicals, really dangerous chemicals. And Dr. Brubaker, I said, well, can I get into your class? He had chemicals he had to get rid of, and he couldn't get any student to do that. And I basically told him, I got training by the Army, our Army, to dispose of explosives. I do mean dispose of burning them off, neutralizing them. So why don't you let me neutralize that thing? Because they would have a big barrel of this stuff, 5 gallons or more, and they said, well, and it would cost them, $10,000 to dispose of this stuff. I says, you got to get them up to be kidding. I had the worst chemicals. Why don't you let me dispose of it? So I learned the chemistry breakdown of the stuff, and I broke it down and saved them, $10,000 at a time, getting rid of their hazardous waste. Basically, everything just evaporates. Now, when I was working in a great big company, I had 3 hoods in the lab and more. I had overpressure in the lab, and my supervisor, who knew me from graduate school, knew who I knew in graduate school, called Brubaker and said, does he? He said, oh yes, he does. And since my lab had the hoods, I would get chemicals from other parts of the division to neutralize. And I had other grad students there. We'd never touched that stuff. But you don't know anything about that stuff. I do. And I do. Yes, I do. I mean, like being in bomb disposal. Now, you disarm it, I dispose of it. Won't the stuff explode in your face? No. The detonator's over there. This TNT doesn't work that way. Military explosive doesn't work that way. You can do this, and this with it, like, cutting it open, burning it off. It won't explode. Now, if you set a shockwave to it, it will. And you don't like TNT, you spread it out, and it will burn off. You just don't put a shockwave to it. It's to explode. You need a shockwave, like ammonium nitrate. Ammonium nitrate by itself doesn't explode. I take a 50-pound barrel into a bag and just let it out. Nothing's going to happen to it. Mix it with fuel oil. That's something else. Because you're putting a shockwave through the fuel oil into the ammonium nitrate. Pure ammonium nitrate is something else, not the fertilizer that the mad bombers use, or the thing. Oh, they still explode, but it's a totally different world. But you know your chemistry. I said, you're damn right I had to know chemistry in grad school. I went beyond the grad school thing. I had that thing, and when I worked in an industry, I said, well, you can do this, and this with this stuff. One thing, I had a 55-gallon barrel of catalyst and the waste liquid. I said, well, the waste liquid just evaporates. What are they going to do? Well, what they're going to do is that thing, chemical disposal, well, what can they do with it? They're going to dump it on the ground, let it evaporate, and then get rid of the catalyst. Most likely reuse it, too. They can't do that. Oh, yes, they can. Yeah. And getting rid of hazardous waste is hard because what you're doing in most labs have small amounts. So I walked into a lab which had a can of ethyl ether sitting in the hood rusting. And my comment to them is that it's going to cost you $1,000 by the fire department to take this and dispose of it. Let me dispose of it. I will do is I will dig a hole in the backyard, your backyard, put salt in the bottom of it, okay, salt, and then I will take the can, put it in there. I will put salt and water, and for the next months, 3 months, you just keep adding water to the salt, and the salt will corrode through the stuff, and the stuff will vaporize out, and 6 months down the line, you won't have anything in the can. Then you throw away the can. Well, they don't do that. Well, with my big company, I dispose of a lot of stuff. Grad school does. He said, "What do you mean? No, you want a guy like me. He's a grad school. Oh, he got his PhD in chemistry, but he doesn't know what he's doing. Honest, he doesn't know what he's doing. And he proved me right, because he was getting all this little stuff, mixing this stuff to neutralize it. He filled the floor up with vapor. Not my lab. I had overpressure. He did that thing. I said, I told you, these guys don't know what they're doing right out of school. They don't know what they're doing. But you don't have a chemistry degree. But I know what I'm doing. Honest. Ask Christine. So I was the guy they came to. Yeah. And the day that I wasn't there, the day I was there, they had an intern go into the lab and get rid of my 5 gallons of waste material that I used to get rid of at midnight because, and the wind came out of the northeast. It filled, I lost my job. Yeah. Several FF words describing the intern. It's damn hard getting rid of chemical waste. Or if you got Lake Michigan, chemical companies that seem to have had, chemical companies, mind you, happen to have boats on Lincoln Park Lagoon, and they go down there with 5-gallon buckets of that thing, and they go out to Lake Michigan and they just drop the stuff all off, and it settles down 400 feet on the bottom. Or Lake Superior. Lake Superior is filled with drums at the bottom of the lake. They're 1,000 feet deep, and the chemical waste. I mean, taking a water sample from Milwaukee or Green Bay or Chicago, taking a water and run it through a grass group chromatographer, and you look at the spikes. Says, well, what do you mean? What do you do? I drink distilled water. What do you mean? I drink distilled water. More expensive? Yes, but I drink distilled water. I won't take anything out of the tap. Unless it's groundwater that I know about, the groundwater. Even then, it's dangerous. There's a city in Illinois, in Cook County, that has, it's Cook County or Lake County, yet they have radon gas in their water system. I like distilled water. I'm not selling distilled water, but I like it. Getting rid of chemical waste is really hazardous. Really hazardous. Really hazardous if you don't know what you're doing. But how did you learn that stuff? How did you get in the military? You were never in the military. That's true. But I worked for that agency over there. Down there. And we had to get rid of stuff down there. And I'm a stupid idiot. No, nothing. Hey, look at this here. See this hand. Yeah, some of the people I dealt with. crazy as I was. You learn a lot. Crazy as I am, I still got these. My eyes are still there. My hearing is still there. My body wasn't blown apart. Other people just get killed. Says, I mean, well, why did you go into service? I found out last year why I didn't look at my YouTube on cracked chest. That's the why. My two veins to my heart were smaller than the rest of my veins were. Reduce the, Oh well. Getting rid of hazardous material has always been bad. Oh, I watched the weather forecast. Oh, I pity Chicago Fire Department. Oh, what they have to go into. Oh, yeah. Again, it's thing, and there's stuff put out by the American Chemical Society is out there, and they're chemists. I think 160,000 chemists, and which I happen to be a member of, but I'm not, something like that. It is really hard being a chemist. It's really dangerous being a chemist. It's really hard when you have to get rid of something. It's, really hard to have. It's really. Guy says, "You had graduate chemistry for your regular chemistry?" Yeah. Oh yeah. There was a guy called Dr. Boom. His classes were as he made things explode in the lab. And I don't think it was Harvard, Yale, or something like that. And his classes were always filled. And he basically taught chemistry and what not to do in chemistry. I missed one of his shows because I was out on location. But it's before videotaping. Yeah, I love to have seen his classes. I wonder if YouTube has any of his classes on. Oh well. What not to do in a chemistry lab. But again, back to chemical engineering. You're required to get rid of stuff. What do we do with the waste material? Does it vaporize? Does it burn? But you're polluting the atmosphere. You're right. What do you think they're going to do? They're going to put it in a landfill, which is going to leach into the local water system. Or they vaporize it. They add heat to the container. They put it above 120 degrees. How do they do that? Well, they take something like coffee heaters, you stick it inside there, they plug it in, and the heat just vaporizes this stuff off. Or they take a bucket of this, they lay it out, and Mother Nature is under the sun vaporizes this stuff, and then they take the waste catalyst and the liquid stuff and burn it off. They're going to either vaporize it or they're going to burn it off because they can't bury it. I guess they can bury it, but they're not supposed to bury it. They get idiots like me working around this stuff. Ones that have nothing between the ears, or you would never hand the thing. Ones have big face masks, chemical suits, big gloves, big boots. Wait, am I talking about the guys who do the lawn care with their chemicals? You have to be mad to do that. I would never do that. It's too dangerous. They got somebody to do it. They pay somebody to do that. Spraying the stuff with the chemicals on the lawn. You have a little sign that says, keep your dogs off of the lawn, but not your children. Oh, we screw ourselves up. Great. Oh, well, that's my little bit on getting rid of chemical waste. Chemical hazardous waste.